Hey. Greetings, everyone. Nudelintam Elipan, Delawense Denise, Sapalee Mametake Mu. I am glad you all came. My name is Denise Bright Dove Dunkley. I am Nanticoke from the Lanticoke Lenai Lenape Nation, Turtle Clan. When I describe and envision my ancestral homelands without colonial borders, I say that I am from the southernmost tidewaters of Lenapehoking, the land of Lenape. And that land spreads throughout most of Delaware, parts of Pennsylvania and Maryland, and all of New Jersey, and into New York. We are gathered today within the ancestral homelands of my relatives, the Piscataway people. I am humbled to speak here, and I acknowledge the responsibility of kinship. I want to thank the Piscataway Nation for their unwavering stewardship of this territory, and I ask you all to do the same. Indigenous people have occupied, governed, traded, thrived, and endured within our original territory since time immemorial. It is our inherent sovereign right to continue to do so. But acknowledging our existence is only one step. Good allies also amplify and elevate the voices of those they are helping. We are in a time of uncertainty. Indigenous, Black and brown, are in dire need of assistance. In fact, solidarity is critical for our collective futures. We all know too well what happens to the land happens to the people. As we struggle to fight for life and beauty in this world and for the earth itself, each of us must decide where our moral compass leads us. Will you remember the Piscataway Nation when you leave here today? Will you honor the earth? Will you think about the people whose lands you stand on? Will you stand up for your neighbor? Will you be a good relative and think about the responsibilities of kinship? Will you remember our more than human relatives, those who suffer from the greed of humanity, our four-legged, our winged ones, the creepy crawlies, our soil, our waterways, and our air? What about the rights of nature? A special prayer to all of my relatives who are suffering. My thoughts and prayers are with Palestine. And whatever else you can shout out, I want to hear it. Who needs our help? Kishlemiin, Wicheminin, and Kanakahinin. Wanishi, Creator, help and watch over us. Thank you. Thank you. That was beautiful.
Good afternoon. I'm Yara Allen, and I'm out here because I want you to lift your voices as high as you can lift them. And we're going to bring back an old song to invite the ancestors who did this before us. Are we ready? I need you to clap along if you can. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up the freedom way. Ain't gonna let nobody No, no, ain't gonna let nobody. I'm gonna. That's it. Yeah, ain't gonna let this president. No, ain't gonna let this president. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up the freedom way. Ain't gonna let racist politics. No. Ain't gonna let racist politics. I'm gonna. That's it. One more time. Yeah, ain't gonna let nobody. No, ain't gonna let nobody. I'm gonna keep on. Can we keep doing that? Keep on talking. I'm gonna keep on walking. Keep on talking. Keep on walking. Keep on talking. Marching up to freedom lane. Come on and give it up for Reverend Dr. William J. Barber II.
Stand right behind. Forward together. Take that. Not one step back. 57 years ago, on April the 3rd, Reverend Dr. King said the night before he died, nothing would be more tragic than for us to turn back now. God help us not to turn back from the vision of our Constitution, that is to establish justice, to promote the general welfare, to provide for the common defense, and to ensure domestic tranquility. When Trump and Musk and Johnson and their minions are signing unconstitutional executive orders, unconstitutionally firing people, trying to pass an unjust budget, and wrongfully raising tariffs that will not only hurt Wall Street, but back street and side streets and side roads. When they are doing this, we must say every day, we will stand up in truth and raise our voices and our votes and declare, take your hands off of our democracy. When their foolish budget plans could remove 36 million people from health care and millions of poor and low-wage children from school lunch and refuse to raise the living wage for 14 million low-wage working American people from $7.25 to $17 an hour. We must pray for God to give us the courage to stand and say, take your hands off our Medicaid. Take your hands off our Medicare. Take your hands off our voting rights. Take your hand off our living wages. Take your hand off our public education. Take your hands off of our lives. When greedy technocrats with a supremacy philosophy want to rule the country, we with moral vigor and righteous indignation must stand up and say no. We cannot be at ease in America. History is pushing us, the present is demanding us, and the future is calling us. I said in 2018 that every age must have a movement of people that will build a moral fusion mass movement that stands together. That stands together because the issues before us are not about left versus right or Republican versus Democrat, but about right versus wrong and justice versus injustice. And with the help of the divine, we must unite more and more, declaring that we are black, we are white, we are Latino, we are Asian, we are Native, we are young, we are old, we are North, we are South, we are East, we are West, we are gay, we are straight, we are trans. We are America, and we ain't going nowhere. God give us the strength. We will not allow a budget that goes after the policies that lift the poor and low-wage workers of this nation. We will not accept the attacks on federal workers. We will not accept them, not now, not ever. And we will prayerfully, with no equivocation, no capitulation, no weakness, declare with all that is holy and divine, we must not bow. We must reclaim our government. We must pledge ourselves to the work of the third reconstruction of America. We must lift every voice and sing together. We must lead with love and repent of the apathy that has too often slipped in. We cannot bow. Finally, they are afraid of you. Trump and Musk, who want to be dictators and want to be kings and lords, they are afraid of the power of love and truth and justice. They are afraid of your unity and your diversity. Well, let's keep them afraid until they change. My friends, this is way bigger than just a party issue. This is an outright battle for civilization. And the truth is, they are all scared of your power to come together. And they are betting that we will be afraid of them. But this is the time that we must increase, intensify, and embolden our agitation for what is right. We must declare that the only way a wannabe king can be king is if we bow, but bowing down is not an option. Our knees aren't made for bowing. We are not going to bow to power-drunk, neo-fascist extremists. We only bow to God. And so we must stand tall. When they attack everyday people with mean, hurtful policies, we must stand tall as they take your hands off of our lives. So stand up to the technocrats. It's time for our pulpits to stand tall. It's time for statesmen and stateswomen to stand tall. It's time for the people to stand tall. We must mobilize our righteous bodies and our voices and our hearts by the millions. We must stand tall because bowing down is not an option. It might take mass call-ins, but stand tall. It might take mass sit-ins, but stand tall. It might take nonviolent civil disobedience, and they might arrest us, but stand tall. It might take mass pray-ins, but stand tall. It might take class action lawsuits, but stand tall. It might take having a labor strike day on election day so that working people can vote. But stand tall. Stand tall in every precinct. Stand tall in every voting district. Stand tall in every city. Stand tall in every state. Stand tall in truth. Stand tall in love. Stand tall in justice. Stand tall and demand that they take their hands off our democracy, and the God of the universe will be with us. Stand tall. Bowing down. Say it with me. Bowing down. Bowing down. Bowing down is not an option. Stand. 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 Stand.
Washington, D.C., please welcome Congressman Jamie Raskin.
Hello, indivisible. Hello, America. Anybody here from Maryland, the Free State? The birthplace of Frederick Douglass. The proud home of people who work at USAID and FDA and NOAA, the National Weather Service, and the National Institutes for Health, the NIH. The crown jewel of bioscience, where despite all the purges and all the firings, they're working every day to cure cystic fibrosis, multiple sclerosis, breast cancer, and that most deadly disease of our time, malignant narcissistic personality disorder. Let the scientists do their jobs. They might even find a cure for that baffling worm and brain disease. The great thing about science is it's true whether or not the Secretary of Health and Human Services believes in it. Let's all say with Maryland, hands off science. Anybody here from Virginia? The birthplace of James Madison, who wrote us the First Amendment. It separated church and state for the first time in human history. It gave us the right to speak freely, to publish freely, to worship freely, to assemble freely, and to petition government for a redress of grievances. As Dr. King said, we've got the right to protest for what is right without being arrested, deported, or fired. We got the right to read the books we want, including 1984 and The Handmaid's Tale, even if they now belong in the nonfiction section. We've even got the right to call the president deranged for crashing our economy, destroying $6 trillion of wealth, and turning my 401k into a 201k. And the press has the right to call the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of Mexico. Madison's Constitution gave us the two most beautiful words in the English language: due process. Let's stand with Madison and Virginia and the people and Thomas Jefferson and all the people of the Commonwealth of Virginia, and let's say, hands off the Bill of Rights. Hello to the 713,000 tax-paying, patriotic citizens of Washington, D.C. Your officers, like Michael Fanone, joined the Capitol Police on January 6, 2021, to defend Congress against the worst insurrectionary and mob violence of American history brought down on the Capitol, which wounded, hospitalized, and injured more than 140 of our police officers. These were mobsters who turned the flag of America into a weapon of war against our police. And now Donald Trump says he wants to set up a fund to compensate them. Mr. Trump, if there's going to be a fund to compensate people for January 6th, we're going to compensate the police officers and their families. We're going to back the men and women of the blue, not the planners of the coup. Meantime, the people of D.C. have a valid, bona fide political grievance, not an imaginary one. They've not stormed the Capitol or tried to overturn an election or hang the vice president. They petitioned for statehood like 37 states before them. They did it the right way. So we say to Donald Trump and Elon Musk, hands off Greenland, that's an independent country. Hands off Canada, that's an independent country. Hands off Panama, that's an independent country. Statehood for Washington, D.C. And let's say with the people of Washington, free D.C. I want to say a special hello to people across America, but especially the people of Wisconsin. They showed America that organized people who want nothing but freedom can defeat organized billionaires who want nothing but power. Here in America, Mr. Musk, justice is not for sale, and we don't raffle off state Supreme Court judgeships for million-dollar prizes. Stop trying to buy our votes. Stop ripping off our government, and stop stealing our data. My friends, we're in the fight of our lives, but I want to tell you this. We are winning now. We are winning every day. We are winning in court, where 39 judges appointed by 5 Republican and Democratic presidents have issued 56 preliminary injunctions and TROs against this lawlessness. That's why my MAGA colleagues now want to impeach the judges like Judge Boasberg, the chief judge of the D.C. District Court. Yesterday, he ordered the return of Kilmer Garcia, a legal resident of the United States, married to a U.S. citizen. They sent him to a dictator's prison in El Salvador. The administration was forced to admit that his deportation was without due process and was, quote, an administrative error. But get this, then Trump said, well, c'est la vie. Mr. Garcia would have to stay in that torture facility because the U.S. no longer had custody over him. But Judge Boasberg told him that if you've got the means to unlawfully deport someone, you find the means to bring them back. So now they're calling Judge Boasberg a radical left rogue judge. The problem is he was appointed to the bench first by President Bush. He was Justice Kavanaugh's roommate at Yale. He's known as a pillar of the legal establishment. They say, though, Well, the number of courts striking down Trump's policies is completely unprecedented. Well, so what? That's only because the number of his illegal actions are completely unprecedented. The judges are doing their jobs. They're doing their jobs. Let's tell MAGA what democratic movements all over the world tell the dictators of the world. Hands off the courts. Hands off the courts. But you know, Trump's even trying to ban law firms and lawyers who represent Democrats from federal buildings and federal employment and to revoke their security clearances. Wait, he's shaken down law firms for hundreds of millions of dollars in pro bono work for his pro-Malum causes. Some firms have buckled under these threats, but hundreds of firms led by Wilmer Hale and Jenner and Block and thousands of lawyers led by Rachel Cohen are standing strong for the rule of law. And the courts are rejecting these attacks on the right to counsel and free speech. We're winning in the states. We're winning in the counties. We're winning in the cities and towns. We're winning in the churches, and not just with the great Reverend Barber. We're winning across the country. No moral person wants an economy crashing dictator who knows the price of everything and the value of nothing. We're winning in the universities, which know the difference between transgender mice and transgenic mice. And they know the difference between academic freedom and political tyranny. We're winning with veterans across America who know which side we were fighting on in World War II. And when they see Nazis marching down the boulevard, they don't see very fine people on both sides of the street. We're winning with people in the armed services who know that Donald Trump is turning our best friends in the world, like Germany and the UK and France and Canada and Mexico, into enemies by the way he's treating them. And he's turning the enemies of American democracy, like Vladimir Putin and Viktor Orban and Xi and Erdogan, into their bosom buddies. We're starting to win with the business community, which knows there's no prosperity with stupid trade wars against the whole world. There's no prosperity with stock market collapse and mass unemployment. There's no future with presidents who have the politics of Mussolini and the economics of Herbert Hoover. But now look, Elon Musk and the Silicon Valley billionaire mafia believe that high IQ tech supermen obsessed with eugenics and impregnating as many women as possible are destined to govern the rest of us. In other words, they're going to rule in their vision. They believe democracy is doomed, and they believe regime change is upon us if they can only seize control of our payment systems, our data, and our computers. Their guru, Curtis Yarvin, aka Mencius Moldbug, says American democracy is a failed experiment. He praises slavery and its positive effects for the African American community. He told the New York Times that the American people have to get over our irrational fear of dictatorship. On January 20th, the day when Donald Trump did not put his hand on the Bible, even his own Bible, available online to true believers for the low price of $59.99. On that day, when he swore to support our Constitution, we saw what a dictatorship of autocrats and plutocrats and kleptocrats and theocrats looks like. It's a twice impeached, multiply bankrupted, very stable genius standing in front of oligarchs Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, and Jeff Bezos, standing in front a cabinet of billionaires and Putin followers who make war plans over the public signal app, even while they're literally sitting in the Kremlin. But I want to tell you something. Moldberg and Vance and Musk, they may have access to artificial intelligence, but they've got no access to human intelligence. These founders of the Dark Enlightenment, as they call themselves, are no match for the founders of the actual Enlightenment like Madison and Jefferson and Ben Franklin and Tom Paine, much less the leaders who took down slavery and built Reconstruction like Abraham Lincoln and Harriet Tubman and Thaddeus Stevens and Frederick Douglass. If they think they're going to overthrow the heroes of American democracy, they don't know who they're dealing with. Our founders wrote a constitution that does not begin with "we the dictators." The preamble says, "We the people." We the who? Did you say the corporations? We the people, in order to form a more perfect, did you say a more perfect government? We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure to ourselves and our posterity the blessings of liberty, do hereby ordain and establish the Constitution of these United States of America. That's our preamble. And then the very next sentence is, all legislative power is vested in the Congress of the United States of America. And it lays out all the powers of Congress, the power to regulate commerce domestically and internationally, which means it's Congress that controls tariffs, not the president, not Elon Musk. Their tariffs are not only imbecilic, they're illegal, they're unconstitutional, and we're going to turn this around. Congress has the power of the purse to raise money and spend money. An Appropriations Act is a federal law, like a law banning assault on federal officers. It's not a budgetary negotiation. It's not a suggestion to the executive branch. If we say spend money on childhood education or cancer research, you spend that money. Congress is the lawmaking branch, the predominant branch, as Madison put it. And don't buy any of this fifth grade propaganda about three co-equal branches. First of all, co-equal's not even a word, okay? It's like extremely unique. But secondly, read Article 2 of the Constitution about the president. After all those pages about Congress, 4 short paragraphs. The most important one, Section 4, which is all about how you impeach a president for treason, bribery, and other high crimes and misdemeanors. If we're co-equal, how come we can impeach him and he can't impeach us? What's the core function of the president, my friends? And teach your children to take care that the laws are faithfully executed. Not twisted, not distorted, not maligned, not trashed. Take care that the laws are faithfully executed. All we say to Donald Trump is, do your job. And when he doesn't, that's what Article 3 is all about. Marbury versus Madison says it's emphatically the province and the duty of the judicial department to say what the law is. That's what judicial review is. But that's a short-term solution, my friends. The real backstop to this authoritarianism is, it has always been, and it always will be, the people. Even with all their gerrymandering and all their voter suppression, even with all their billions in dark money, the people will organize to defeat them and take back the Congress next year. We'll be heard in the town halls, in the union halls, in the church halls, in the state capitals and in the capital city, online and inline, at the post office, which we're going to save, at social events, and at the Social Security offices that they're trying to close down. And if anybody was slow to wake up to this authoritarian takeover, nobody's sleeping now, and nothing is going to stop the forces of democracy and freedom in America. No oligarch, no broligarch, no autocrat, no theocrat, no kleptocrat, no monarch from Moscow or Mar-a-Lago is going to turn us around. Fascism will not be the end of human history. Human history will be the end of fascism. The deranged cult of MAGA will not destroy the economy built by free labor, free ideas, and free markets. The Economist magazine called 6 months ago the envy of the world. The envy of the world. My friends, we are not only the liberals who believe in liberty. We are not only the progressives who believe in progress. We are the conservatives who will defend the land, the air, the water, the climate system, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, the Affordable Care Act, the Voting Rights Act of 1965, the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the National Labor Relations Act, the Fair Labor Standards Act, the Clean Water Act, the Clean Air Act, everything that their party of nihilists and authoritarians wants to tear down in the next few weeks, we are going to conserve and defend for future generations of Americans. We invite all Americans to join us, to join the party of democracy and freedom and solidarity. An injury to one is an injury to all. A victory for any one of us is a victory for all. And I leave you with the words of two great democracy patriots. Hold them close to your heart. One, the great Frederick Douglass, born a half an hour away at the Wye River Plantation into slavery. He escaped from slavery to become our great freedom fighter during the Civil War and Reconstruction. And Douglass said, if there's no struggle, there's no progress. And the struggle may be physical, it may be moral and physical, but there must be struggle. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never has, and it never will. A message to you from Frederick Douglass and the people of Maryland. And my friends, I leave you finally with the words of the great Tom Paine, who my son Tommy was named after. And Tom Paine got here in 1774, 2 years before the Revolution. He fell in love with the promise of our land. He said, if these people live up to their promise and their ideals, the land will become an asylum to humanity, he said. Not an insane asylum, mind you. A place of refuge for people seeking freedom from political and religious discrimination from all over the world. And he wrote the pamphlet that ignited our revolution, Common Sense, by which he meant the sense we all have in common when we're willing to reason together without myth and dogma and what we would call propaganda and disinformation. But you know, 1776 was a tough year, and the country was split. There were some people running around saying, you can't beat the kings and the queens. You can't beat the autocrats and the monarchs. You can't separate church and state. For all of history, people have lived under thugs and dictators and kleptocrats like Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump. But half of the people said, no, Let's try something different. Let's pledge to ourselves our sacred honor, our fortunes, our lives to build something different. And so Payne wanted to write a pamphlet to give people hope during the darkest hours. And he wrote this beautiful pamphlet called The American Crisis. I just want to quote a little passage to you. I'm going to update the language so it doesn't offend modern sensibilities. And Nancy Pelosi told me I had to do that. And she said it wouldn't offend Tom Paine because he was a feminist, and that he was. He was fighting for women's voting rights in the 18th century. But Paine said, these are the times that try men and women's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will shrink at this moment from the service of their cause and their country. But everyone that stands with us now will win the love and the favor and affection of every man and every woman for all time. Tyranny, like hell, is not easily conquered, but we have this saving consolation. The more difficult the struggle, the more glorious in the end will be our victory. Let's make that victory ours. Thank you, Indivisible. Thank you, America.
Please welcome Congressman Maxwell Frost.
Hello, how's everybody doing? This is about the fight for everything and everyone. When I say everything, say everyone. Everything. 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 It is so damn good to see this crowd. Yo, we all know that we're living in some dark times. We see the foundations of our society, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, the very safety nets that people have fought for generations to ensure that our country lives up to its promise, are being targeted by the billionaires and the oligarchs and the corporations. This insidious rise of authoritarianism is fueled by corrupt billionaires and mega corporations who believe that they have the right to control every aspect of our lives. Our health care, to our schools, to our thoughts, to our very speech. Under the false banner of patriotism and freedom and a false banner of patriotism. They would have us believe that if we gave them all the control, everything would be great. But breaking news, they've had the control and look at where we're at right now. Massive wealth inequality in this country, where most of our people live paycheck to paycheck. And it isn't a new problem for generations. The billionaires and oligarchs have kept all this wealth and left us with the crumbs. But we say no more. In this moment, we all have a choice to make. As elected officials, we can't live in the world of what we can't do, but we have to live in the world of what we can and must do. I'll tell you, I had some friends come up to me and say, Maxwell, you should think about running for Congress. 4 years ago, I said, hell no, you're crazy. The crazy thing is, I didn't have all the power at the time. I didn't have all the money. I experienced homelessness during my campaign, and as many of you know, even after I was elected, I couldn't find a place to live in DC because the housing costs were too high. But the crazier thing is, we won. We didn't have all the power. When we woke up and saw, it was Twitter at this time, when we woke up and saw on Twitter that a black man, George Floyd, had been lynched in broad daylight. We didn't have all the power, but we still took to the streets to say that Black Lives Matter. They didn't have all the power. When a gunman walked into Marjorie Stoneman Douglas in Parkland, Florida, and murdered 17 students, children, and teachers. But the students rose up, demanded that we end gun violence, and the world didn't just watch, the world marched to end gun violence. I say this Because a lot of times when you don't have all the power that you want, you use all the power that you got. And that's what we have to do in this moment. We need to use everything in our toolbox. We can't afford to brush aside any part of our movement. We need mutual aid. We need protest. We need direct action. We need a legislative strategy. We need to be in the courts litigating, because I promise you, our opposition are not leaving any tools in their toolbox. They're using everything they have. And it's insane because there is such international solidarity in the right-wing fascist movement. January 6th here, January 8th in Brazil, funded by a lot of the same people and organized by a lot of the same people. But here's the thing, their movement is run by fear, trying to push us against one another. They would have our people believe that the reasons we can't afford rent, the reason we can't afford healthcare, the reason we can't afford groceries is because of other people in our own communities. Yes, we know that this system is rigged and the status quo doesn't work for Americans, but it's not rigged against the billionaires, it's rigged for the billionaires and for the corporations. They are the ones hoarding so much wealth, we can't even imagine what it is. They're the ones cutting essential programs that help working families while giving themselves massive tax breaks that benefits nobody but themselves. They tell us that immigrants are stealing our jobs, but they're the ones shipping jobs overseas and hiring corporate lawyers to go and union bust. They're the ones that are screwing us over on the jobs. They tell us that trans people are a threat to our children, but they're the ones dismantling public education. They're the ones denying the climate crisis. They're the ones poisoning our planet. They're the ones doing nothing about the national public health emergency of gun violence. And they want us to believe that they're the patriots of free speech. But they're the ones kidnapping and disappearing college students across this country that are just fighting for peace to ensure that innocent people don't die. The message is simple, and I've been traveling the country. I went to Michigan with my good friend Senator Chris Murphy to a Republican district, and the message is simple. We're in this situation not because of our neighbors. I promise you, your bank account looks a lot more like your trans neighbors or your immigrant neighbors and nothing like Elon Musk's. In fact, we're all closer to being on the streets than having a bank account that looks like his. How do you think he got to where he's at? I have people who come up to him and say, Maxwell, why would they be stealing? Elon Musk is already the richest person in the world. He has enough money. The question is, how do you think he became the richest person in the world? And, you know, Elon doesn't like me. If you told me 5 years ago that the richest man on earth would be tweeting about me, I mean, it goes to show Elon's a great example that money can't buy you happiness and money can't buy you a Wisconsin Supreme Court seat either. But I'll tell you, our way out of this is not to back down, is not to be silent, it is not to be divided. Throughout human history, authoritarians, they're never satisfied with the power that they have. And so they test the bounds, they push the limits, they break the law, and then they look at the public to see if they're quiet or if they're loud. If we are quiet, if elected officials are quiet, then we are complicit. And we cannot be complicit in the tearing apart of Medicaid, of Social Security, of food stamps, of nutritional assistance, of the things that we fought for and earned. This is why Democrats in the House and across the country, we can't be and we are not the minority party. We must be the opposition in this moment. And then in less than 2 years, we will become the majority. And I'll tell you this, Elon Musk was on the news the other day saying, well, if the Democrats win, it's just gonna be subpoenas and investigations. It's the one thing he's right about. You're damn right there's gonna be subpoenas. You're damn right there's gonna be investigations. Because when you steal from the people, expect the people to rise up at the ballot box and on the streets. Look, I'll end with this. I'm not gonna be the one to sit here and say everything is gonna be okay, because to be honest, there's gonna be a lot of people, and there's already a lot of people who are not okay, who are suffering from this authoritarian right-wing regime that is trying to have a billionaire takeover of our government. But the good thing is we are not alone. Not just in this moment and in this crowd, but I mean, we're not alone in the grand mosaic of humanity and timeline of justice. We stand alongside the water protectors, the freedom fighters, the anti-war warriors, the labor organizers, and movements of working people throughout human history that have seen the world through the eyes of the most vulnerable and said, we are all together. We are not divided and we are not apart. And it's not gonna be easy. And I know this coming from a movement. You know, I got involved in politics when I was 15 years old because I didn't want to get shot in school. I was a part of movement for 10 years and still part of the gun violence prevention movement. That the time when the most people give a damn about our issue is coupled when there's the most death and chaos. A movement when the country is paying attention to us. This is what's going on right now. I always tell people, the testament of an organizer is what you do when nobody's paying attention. But the testament of a movement is what you do when the world is watching. And the world is watching our country right now. There will be times when we feel discouraged. There will be times where we feel disappointed. But when those feelings overcome you, think about this moment. Think about our people. Think about our stories. And think about the people who came before us. And in my mind, I always think about the amazing Angela Davis when she said, I am no longer accepting what I cannot change. I am changing what I cannot accept. So to the people, can you accept cuts to Social Security? Can you accept cuts to Medicare and Medicaid? Can we accept the rise of right-wing authoritarians in this country? Can we accept them banning the books in our libraries? Can we accept them trying to ethnically cleanse our people from a land? Can we accept kids being mowed down in their schools? Well, it sounds like we have a lot of damn work to do. God bless you all. Let's continue to fight, and we will win. Thank you.
Please welcome Move On Executive Director, Rana Epting.
Hello, DC. I'm Rana, and I'm with Move On. Who's a Move On member? Raise your hand. That's right, because at Move On, we believe in the power of the people. We believe in the power of collective action, and that's what today is all about. Look, we know Trump and Musk and the Republicans have been launching an all-out flood-the-zone strategy to overwhelm us with attacks on Social Security, Medicaid, on other critical services and benefits that we've earned, on attacks on our rights and our freedoms. They want us to feel helpless. They want us to be hopeless. They want us to feel alone in our concerns. Are we alone? Are we helpless? Hell no. Are we hopeless? No, because when we come together, we are powerful, and thank you for being here today. Look, Trump and Musk, They're doing everything to consolidate their power. You know that. They're firing tens of thousands of federal employees. They're threatening to get rid of more. They're trying to eliminate the Department of Education, leaving students, parents, and teachers out in the cold in favor of making their billionaire backers richer and richer. And now they're attempting to silence our neighbors in the workforce all across the country by taking away their voice on the job. Are we going to stand for that? But as we know, the working people united will never be divided, will never be defeated. And you're about to hear from some incredible leaders of unions here today. We'll be joined alongside with working people who've been directly affected at the hands of Trump and Musk. They're not just fighting for their members, they are fighting for all of us, folks. So please give a big, hearty welcome to the stage, AFL-CIO President Liz Shuler, NEA President Becky Pringle, National Nurses United President Kathy Kennedy, NFFE President Randy Irwin, and AFGE President Everett Kelly, along with their members.
Yeah! Wow, what a beautiful sight. Thank you so much. I'm Liz Shuler, President of the AFL-CIO, America's Unions. And I'm so honored to be here with all of you and with all of our labor activists and leaders here to bring the voice of not just our 63 unions and nearly 15 million workers, but of every working person in this country. So listen, this administration wants us, they want us to think that these cuts are about a bunch of bureaucrats, that these cuts don't matter to workers and families across the country. Well, I'm up here today next to workers who are the human face of what is going on. The people who make our lives better, who serve our communities, and whose lives have been turned upside down by this administration. People like Shanice Mundell, who's standing right here next to me, an Air Force veteran, someone who served this country and then went to work for the federal government, the Office of Personnel Management, a proud AFGE union member. She made sure people got their health care until this administration fired her. Does that make sense to anyone here? Listen, ever since this election, I keep hearing about how divided working people are. But the people I talk to every day, teachers, nurses, construction workers, engineers, sanitation workers, people with every kind of job and every kind of background, what I hear is the exact opposite. We could not be more united in what matters to us. And I see it. I see it. I have not met one person who says, yes, it makes sense for a CEO to make 268 times what I make while I live paycheck to paycheck. I have not met one person who says, yes, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos need more tax breaks, and that money should come from my mom's Medicare or Social Security. I have not met one person who says, yes, please, let an unelected billionaire take a chainsaw to the jobs that my community counts on. The jobs that keep my food safe, that make my water clean. Get rid of the workers who care for our veterans, our heroes, when they come back from serving our country. It makes no sense. So to every working person here and everyone watching, I don't care if you're a Democrat, a Republican, an independent, do you want common sense from your government? Are you sick and tired of a government that is not of, by, and for the people, but of, by, and for the billionaires? Are you ready to do something about it? That's what I thought. They have billions of dollars. But what we saw on Tuesday night in Wisconsin gives me hope. Because our votes are not for sale. Our values are not for sale. And our rights and our freedoms are not for sale. So are you ready to fight? You ready to win? I'd love to have Shanice say a few words about her experience, and then I'll introduce our next speaker.
Thanks, everyone, for coming out. I just want to thank you all and let you know that I'm happy that you're in the fight with us. I may not get my job back, but I'm going to fight for the employees that are still there because they deserve it as well. And I'm going to make sure that everyone knows what's going on because when we fight, we win.
And now it's my joy to introduce an absolute fighter for our nation's kids, someone who protects not only our educators, our students, but all working people in this country, the president of the National Education Association, Becky Pringle.
The view from up here is magnificent. Of all the civil rights for which this world has fought and died for 5,000 years, the right to learn is the most fundamental. The freedom to learn has been bought by bitter sacrifice. So whatever you might think about the curtailment of other civil rights, you must fight to the last ditch to keep open the right to learn. Those words spoken by W.E.B. Du Bois over a century ago are still true today. I am Becky Pringle, and I am most proud of having taught eighth graders the wonders of science for 31 years. And I am honored to be the president of this nation's largest labor union, the National Education Association. I am joined here on stage by teachers and education support staff. And we are joined by the 3 million people who have dedicated their lives to teaching and nurturing, counseling and feeding, driving and taking care of this nation's 50 million students. And we're all here to say, hands off our public schools. The NEA has called out Donald Trump and Elon Musk and WWE czar. You can't make this stuff up. Linda McMahon's brazen attempts to undermine public education in America. Their devastating, dangerous, and disrespectful mass firing of half of our public servants in the Department of Education. We all know that that will hurt all students in all rural and all urban and all suburban schools across this country. We know that class sizes will soar and arts and music and after-school programs will be diminished. Job training programs will disappear. Higher education will be further out of reach for most Americans. And our most vulnerable children, our children with disabilities, will be left adrift without desperately needed special education services. And the civil rights of our students will be eroded. Yeah, what is? That's why the NEA and our partners sued them. Hands off, Donald Trump. Hands off, Elon Musk. Hands off, Linda McMahon. I just left Kentucky where we were celebrating their success. 120 counties, every one of them voted no to vouchers. They said loudly and clearly, we love our public schools. Hands off our schools. Hands off our schools. Hands off our schools. Hands off our schools. And after that victory, now they're worried that federal vouchers will take all of the funds out of our schools and give them to private schools. And who will be left to stand in those gaps for our babies? Educators all over this country who bear that burden every day. And those federal workers in the Department of Education, where we saw them being fired, we heard from them. Anthony, a veteran who told us, I put my life on the line. I was willing to die for this country, all to be thrown out like trash by this administration. Donald Trump and Elon Musk are trying to roll back 6 decades of civil rights progress. They're peddling their private school voucher schemes to put money in the pockets of already obscenely rich billionaires and take away money from the 90% of the students who learn in our public schools. And we know it's a scheme. We've already seen when states go to vouchers, academics decline, state budgets are slashed, and public education, our schools lose vital funding. Now you might say, Becky, why are they doing this? Yeah, I thought you had to. Well, you know, it fits right into any authoritarian's plan to strip away the freedom to teach and the freedom to learn. Because oligarchs know that to maintain a democracy, you have to have an educated society. Now, the Trump-Musk administration can't have that. They don't want people who are critical thinkers asking hard questions, people reading, they don't want that. Right. Discerning the truth. They want us divided and swimming in chaos and confusion so we won't come together and expose their plan for what it is. That we won't focus on creating that beautiful vision of every public school having the resources to create a safe and welcoming and inclusive and joyful learning environment where every student, everyone can live into their brilliance. Yeah. I am deliberate and afraid of nothing. Let those powerful words of Audre Lorde fuel our courage and resolve, deliberate and unafraid, we will demand that every student has what they need and what they deserve. Deliberate and unafraid, we will fight for every educator to be respected and compensated for what they do for this country. Deliberate and unafraid, we will continue the fight for education justice and economic justice and social justice until this country lives into the promise and the poetry of our Constitution. We the people, say it with me, we the people, we the people, we the people, all of us deserve that right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of justice. So we will continue to demand that you keep your hands off our schools, keep your hands off our rights, and we won't stop. We the people won't stop because our children, our babies are depending on us. They're depending on us to be worthy of them. And now, from the National Nurses United, give it up for Kathy Kennedy. Thank you so much. Well, hello, everybody. My name is Kathy Kennedy, and I'm a registered nurse and president of National Nurses United. And you know, union nurses have long fought for Medicare for all because we know that health care is a human right. And we know that health is not just about medical treatment, it's also about the world that we live in and the support systems we all rely on. Those include Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, the Department of Health and Human Services, and the Veterans Affairs Administration. Yes, this current administration wants to weaken and privatize those programs that have helped millions of people stay alive, housed, and cared for. And without these programs, vulnerable seniors, low-income families, people with disabilities, and veterans will suffer. Yes. And while they're attacking the social programs, they're also stripping away protected union rights from federal workers, including our VA nurses, 15,000 of them. No. Yes. They're trying to break our solidarity so that we can't hold them accountable. But guess what? We're not going to let that happen. The current administration wants a society where wealthful and powerful get richer while the rest of us struggle. They say that people should be responsible for themselves while they're handing out billions of tax breaks, subsidies, and bailouts to giant corporations. What do you say? No way. No way. So let's be very clear. Our nation's public programs were created for a reason. During times of struggle like the Great Depression, the World Wars in Vietnam, when seniors were dying in poverty, veterans were left without care, and millions of Americans lacked the basic services to live. Do we want that? No. Absolutely not. This administration knows. They know very well that these are very popular programs for voters, so they can't get rid of them overnight. So what do? They sneak in the night and they have a plan to turn these public programs into money-making systems for private corporations. Yeah. How do they justify doing this? First, they have to break the system, right? Slash funding, fire staff, change policy until the program no longer functions properly. And then private corporations swoop in, offering to fix it for a profit. Are we going to let that happen? No. Are we here to tell them hands off? We must stand up for a society that values people over profit, right? Our seniors, our communities, our patients, our veterans, we all depend on this. So hands off our public services. Hands off our union rights. Hands off. All right, so I am so happy and so thrilled to see all of you today. And now I would like to turn it over to another president of the National Federation of Federal Employees, President Randy Irwin.
Good afternoon, everybody. The energy is incredible. Thank you for coming out. I'm Randy Irwin. I'm the national president of the National Federation of Federal Employees. We represent 110,000 federal workers nationwide. Our members are doing incredible work, caring for our veterans, keeping our military ready, caring for our public lands, and just, hundreds of other essential services so important to the American people. I know there's got to be some federal employees here. Thank you, federal employees, for all you do. Thank you. So as you know, the Trump administration is absolutely destroying public services in this country right now. That's right. They claim to be making government more efficient. That is a joke, people. That is a cruel joke. They're doing the exact opposite. What they're doing is a recipe for disaster, not a recipe for efficiency. Now, this administration has fired or bullied into resignation 275,000 federal workers providing essential services. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Let me ask you a question. Are you okay with Trump eliminating essential services? No. Hell no. Hell no. Now, never forget this fact. 30% of the federal workforce are veterans. The biggest employer of veterans nationwide by a wide margin. You can't separate federal employees from veterans because there's so many veterans in the federal government. If you're doing it to federal employees, you're doing it to veterans, okay? He's laid off 275,000. That means almost 100,000 veterans now are jobless because of what this president is doing. Boo. Concurrently, they're decimating the Department of Veterans Affairs. They're laying off 83,000 people that care for veterans. This is a 1-2 punch to the face of our veterans. Are you okay with that? No. Hell no. Hell no! Hell no! Shame on Trump. Okay. Shame on Trump. Shame on Trump. Shame on Trump. Shame on Trump. And I'll make a point about this. This is an important point about the veterans. You could stand with Doge and Trump and Elon Musk, or you could stand for veterans. You cannot stand for both. Okay. Now make no mistake, the cuts to essential services, okay, the cuts that we're seeing to the workforce are decimating public services, unquestionably putting the American people in danger, okay? We've seen cuts to nuclear regulators that they went back on. They told air traffic controllers to quit and then went back on it. We represent wildland firefighters. They're not hiring enough of them. Communities are gonna burn, it's scary. Okay, examples all over government, okay? Let me ask you a question. Are you okay with Trump undermining public safety? No. Hell no! Hell no! Hell no! Hell no! And in the last 10 days, Trump signed an executive order attempting to unilaterally and unlawfully end collective bargaining for over 1 million federal employees. We've never seen anything like that in this country, folks. Never seen anything like it. It is the biggest assault on collective bargaining that we have ever seen in this country. A critical First Amendment right protected by the Constitution. Are you okay with that? No. Hell no. Hell no. This administration is the worst. They sold us on America first, but they're making America worse. We are the ones that have to stop them. I'm so proud of everybody here. Don't stop. We never stop fighting for this country. And now it is my distinct honor to welcome to the podium my good friend, incredible labor leader, Dr. Everett Kelly, president of AFGE.
Bless you, brother. Good evening. How everybody feel? Are you excited? Let me hear you say, I'm excited. Brothers, sisters, allies, on behalf of the 820,000 federal and D.C. government workers we represented AFGE, I want to begin by saying thank you. Thank you for showing up today. Listen, everybody look at your neighbor on your left side and say thank you. Come on, I don't hear you. Everybody look at your neighbor on your right side and say thank you. Thank you for your unwavering solidarity. Thank you for supporting the patriotic American civil servants that my union represent. Thank you for standing for the services we provide to the American people, not some days, but every single day. And thank you for showing our members that you have their back. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, I can't begin by telling you how much it means to me, to every AFG member, and to every federal employee across the nation to see this crowd here today. I can't begin to tell you how important it is for not just the workers, but for our nation. Because we're not here today just as union members or federal employees. We are here today as defenders of democracy. We are here today as champions of justice. We are here as protectors of our freedom and the American way of life. That's why we're here. And brothers and sisters, let me tell you this, that AFGE is here standing on principles. Say principles. Because today our nation is at a crossroad. In recent days, we witnessed unprecedented attacks on our democracy, on the rule of law, on American veterans, on American workers, on our civil servants, on our government, on our communities, on our union, and on the very freedom guaranteed to us by our Constitution. What do we say? We say no. Now, just last week, the president issued an unprecedented executive order, and the union of over 1 million American workers who serve their country every single day, a third of whom are veterans themselves, and that is an attack on AFGE. But let me tell you something, it's not just an attack on AFGE, but it's an attack on all of us. Because if he is able to deny our members their rights under the law, guess what? He won't stop there, because you're next. He'll deny your rights. And that's their hope. That's their plan. But they thought it was easy. They thought we were easy targets. But let me tell you something about union members and veterans. We will not be intimidated. I'm a veteran myself. I'm an Army veteran. We will not be silenced. We will not bow down. We'll stand up and say, hands off our union. We'll stand up and say, hands off our contract. We'll stand up and say, hands off our democracy. Hands off our freedom.
And we'll stand up and speak truth to power. Let me just tell somebody that might be listening that AFGE and the labor force, 15 million of us, we're going nowhere. We're going to stand our ground. We're not going to stand by and let you dismantle the agencies that protect American workers against greedy billionaires and corporations. Hands off. Let them hear you. Let them hear you. We ain't going to let them dismantle Social Security and steal the money that Americans have contributed toward their retirement their entire life. What do we say? We aren't going to let you cut 80,000 workers from the VA and take away our veteran benefits. What do you say? We aren't going to let them gut the agencies that keep us safe from the pollution and diseases. What do we say? Brothers and sisters, we know the actions of Elon Musk and Trump and their Doge billionaire buddies aren't about efficiency or national security. That's just an excuse they use. Now, they call it the Department of Government Efficiency. Let me tell you what I call it. Let me tell you what I call it, and I want to see if you agree with me. I call it the Department of Government Evil. Because it's evil to disrupt 9 million lives that are veterans for the power grab. It's just evil. It's evil to destroy the very system that ensures clean water and clean food. It's just plain evil. Now, this is what they want. They want power. Plain and simple. They want it, and they don't want you to have it. Their shock and awe campaign was meant to silence our voice and weaken our resolve and put regular Americans under the boot heels of unelected billionaires, destroying the American experiment in freedom and democracy that's 2.5 centuries old. And that's why AFGE has been in the courts, in the media, in Congress, and here with you on the street. And not only are we in the court, but we're kicking their behind while we're in the court. And we're going to continue to kick that behind because we're going to stand up for every wronged federal employee there is. We're going to continue to fight back. So here's the question. Are we going to let it happen? The people gathered here today, all across America, this country is not going to let it happen. But let me be clear. This is not a marathon. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Today isn't the end of this movement. It's the beginning. And we got to leave here these events all around the country and continue to organize. We have to continue to raise awareness. Continue to recruit more people to our cause. As a union, as a movement, and as a nation, we are facing some hard challenges. Challenges like we never faced before. But let me tell you something. There's still no challenge too big for us to overcome if we work together. To every federal employee watching today, know this. AFGE and all the folk out here across the country have your back. Let me hear you tell them. We have your back. And we will speak truth to power. We will not be intimidated. We will not be silenced. We're here to fight. We intend to win. Because we stand on principles. Together, we'll stand strong against all attacks. Let me hear you say together. And together we'll protect the rights and the freedom of every American because we got the power. You know, we have power. The power is in we. Say we. We. We will stand. We will fight. We'll fight for righteousness. We'll fight for justice. Say, we got the power. We got the power. So, brothers and sisters, stay strong. Keep the faith. Hold on just a little while longer. Don't ever give up. Do not despair. Fight on. March on. Pray on. I heard a scripture say that weeping may endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning. Say, joy is coming. Joy is coming. Say joy. Say joy. Say joy. Joy is coming. Don't give up. Thank you.
Please welcome back to the stage, Move On Executive Director, Rana Epting.
All right, look, we're all coming together here because there's so many of us, so many people being harmed by the consequences of the callous, corrupt, and chaotic Trump administration. Boo! And as Trump is using every tool of the government to implement his far right-wing agenda at a speed which we have never seen before, we know he's doing it on purpose so that we can't keep up with the changes and that we eventually lose hope and can't fight back. And he's directly targeting and bullying. What do we say to bullies? Yeah. He's directly targeting and bullying the most vulnerable people in our country. He's trying to tell us that immigrants, our LGBTQ friends, and trans neighbors are making this, they're the reason this country is worse off. Fuck that! It could not be further from the truth. LGBTQ people make our country better, stronger, and more beautiful every single day. It is my honor and privilege to welcome the inspiring Stella Keating, the first transgender teenager to testify before the U.S. Senate, and Human Rights Campaign President and friend, Kelly Robinson.
Whoa, what's up, good people? It's a beautiful day to defend democracy in them. I'm Kelly Robinson, president of the Human Rights Campaign. And more importantly, I'm black and I'm queer and I'm not going anywhere. Lesbian, gay, bi, trans, and queer folks, we are not going anywhere. We are standing thousands strong, millions strong today to tell them hands off. Hands off! Hands off! Hands off! Hands off our bodies, our families, our books, our ballots, and hands off our trans kids, y'all. This moment is not going to be defined by our opposition. It's going to be defined by our courage. The courage that we summoned from our ancestors from Selma to Stonewall. The courage of Cory Booker, who stood up for 25 hours, speaking truth to power. The courage of those Wisconsin voters that stood up for democracy. Y'all, These are serious times that require serious leadership. If it's not going to come from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, it's going to come from people like us out in the streets, ready to fight for freedom, ready to fight for justice, ready to fight for liberation. Let me hear you. And nobody knows courage better than our young people, y'all. And I want you to hear directly from one of them today. She's a fighter. She's a truth teller. When she speaks, the world leans in. Give it up for Stella Keating.
Thank you, Kelly. 4 years ago, I became the first trans teen to ever testify before the United States Senate. They can't take that away from me. I was young, and I believed we were turning a corner. I believed that we would be protected, and I believed that we were seen. But today, the promise that I believed in feels like it's slipping just out of reach. Just yesterday, I had a TSA officer look at my ID, confused, and tell me, "Pretty sure that's you." That's what it means to be trans in America right now. And while the economy is crumbling and families are struggling, this administration wants you to think that I'm the threat. They want you to think that I'm the threat for visiting my doctor, for using a restroom, or playing tennis, or God forbid, flying a plane. Donald Trump and Elon Musk will tell you that I don't exist. But I do. I exist. We all exist. Trans people are here and we're not going anywhere. We are not the threat. We are the future. We deserve to live in a country that sees us, protects us, and lets us thrive. So the question isn't whether we belong, the question is what are you willing to do to defend us?
Yes, yes, we see you, Stella. Yes, yes. This moment that we're in, y'all, it demands more than outrage. It demands action. Because the attacks that we're seeing, they're not just political, they are personal, y'all. They're trying to ban our books. They're slashing HIV prevention funding. They're criminalizing our doctors, our teachers, our families, and our lives. This is Donald Trump's America, and I don't want it, y'all. We don't want this America, y'all. We want the America we deserve, where dignity, safety, and freedom belong not to some of us, but to all of us, y'all. You know, the words of Ella Baker have been on my heart. She said, "We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest." I'm not gonna rest, I'm gonna organize, are you? I'm not gonna rest, I'm gonna vote, are you? I'm not gonna rest, I'm gonna show up and be loud and proud and powerful. Are you ready to do that, y'all? So let them know, hands off, hands off, hands off, hands off. Let's get to work and let's get free, y'all.
Please welcome President Pete Maysmith, League of Conservation Voters.
Good afternoon, DC. My name is Pete Maysmith, and I'm the incoming president of the League of Conservation Voters. And I'm here today because, like you, I'm pissed off, and we're saying enough is enough. That's right. People are hurting because of Donald Trump. He's making life more expensive for all of us. He's gutting basic clean water and clean air protections for every single one of us. He's stopping us from tackling climate change while our communities are experiencing extreme weather, fires, tornadoes, floods that hurt all of us and our neighbors. He's selling off our public lands that belong to us. Oh, and then he's trying to ban clean energy and make electric vehicles more expensive, except for Teslas. He kind of likes those now. He likes those. The simple fact is, Donald Trump made a bunch of promises. He's breaking them all, and he's hurting us. He promised us lower cost, but instead he's trying to ban cheaper clean energy, and he's jacking up our utility bills. He promised us the cleanest air and the cleanest water. Under Donald Trump, pollution is making a comeback. Donald Trump and Elon Musk are setting us back decades. They are hurting us, our families, and our communities, and their rich buddies are doing just fine. Well, we're saying enough is enough. Now, Trump is telling us that we have to accept this uncertainty and this pain that he has created. He has the audacity to say to us, tough luck, I made your life harder, just deal with it. We will not bow down to that cynicism. I'm here to say it doesn't have to be like this. Now, what if instead of banning clean energy, we tackle the climate crisis head on, creating jobs and lowering your energy bills? What if instead of selling off our public lands, we protected them for generations to come and boosted local economies? Yeah. What if instead of telling polluters you can do whatever you want to do, we made them pay to clean up the messes they make? What if instead of destroying our democracy, we make sure every eligible vote is counted and communities have a voice in decisions that impact them? Now today, hundreds of thousands of us are gathering all around the country, and it is the beginning. We're going to take this energy and build on it, but we need to do it together. All of us have to do it because our earth is worth fighting for. Because our democracy is worth fighting for. Because our families are worth fighting for. So today we say, hands off our clean air. We say, hands off our clean water. Hands off our clean energy. Hands off our public lands. And hands off our democracy. Thank you.
Please welcome President Sarah Parker, Voices of Florida, Vice President Cy Day Smith, Voices of Florida, Glows to High, Political Revolution.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for having us today. We heard there's like 100,000 of you, so you guys are freaking phenomenal. You're amazing for being here. Thank you so much. We really wanted to start off with a chant. So we are a grassroots organization originally. That is our core. So we are very big on the chanting, and y'all have all the energy today. So
No Trump. No KKK, no fascist USA. No Trump. No KKK, no fascist USA. No Trump. No KKK, no fascist USA. No Trump.
Hell yes!
I'm a little tall. I first want to introduce Glow, who is the founder of Political Revolution, also a dear friend, and a national coordinator with 5051. Make some noise.
Thank you, Sarah. I've been organizing with 5051 for 3 months since Trump became president, but it feels like 3 years. I first started organizing with Bernie Sanders' presidential campaign 8 years ago. Bernie taught me the importance of organizing with your community and standing up for what is right. He made me realize how wrong things are in this country. He talked about oligarchy and what kind of things can happen in a country where the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. Where greed is incentivized and made legal. Now we have oligarchs in charge, and we have seen the kind of damage they've done. They are corrupting our democratic processes, controlling our media, and influencing policies that benefit only themselves, widening the gap between those who have and those who have not. But standing here today, I am filled with hope. I see all of you, passionate and ready to fight for a better tomorrow. Together, we have the power to enact change, to fight this growing inequality and reclaim our democracy. So what do we do now? We organize, we educate, we mobilize, we stand up, not just for ourselves, but for our neighbors, our community, and our future generations. It won't be easy. The road ahead is long and fraught with challenges. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's that people, united in a common cause with determination and compassion, can overcome the greatest of odds. Let's continue to build this movement. Let's continue to stand up for justice, for equality, and for the rights of every single individual. We must demand change, and we must refuse to be silent until we achieve it. Thank you, each and every one of you, to the 5051 organizers and organizers of every banner, for your commitment and your courage. Together, we will make a difference. This movement is bigger than any one person. Together, we can change this country. Thank you so much. Next, we'll have Day Smith speaking, the Deputy Director of Voices of Florida. Thank you.
Oh my God, there's so many of you. And you know what? Y'all are just the beginning, because there are people out today marching in 5051 protests all over the nation, in cities everywhere. There are thousands upon thousands. Y'all, my name is Day Smith, and I am the Chief Deputy Director of Voices of Florida, a national coordinator with 5051. Now, I'm sure many of y'all have heard about Florida. You'll probably know we've been dealing with a lot of this for a long time. A lot of people have been joking that Florida's that the United States has kind of turned into the Florida of the world. So imagine what it's like to be the Florida of Florida right now. I love that. Listen, Florida has been sort of the testing ground for a lot of what y'all are seeing before you. None of this is really new. It's just straight out of the Florida Handbook. Voices of Florida has been battling in our state for reproductive justice, equitable education, healthcare access, and LGBTQIA+ rights for ages now. A lot of folks wrote Florida off in this nation, just like a lot of people in the world are starting to write off America. But our problems are everybody's problems, and that's how we wound up here today. So we are so grateful to be sitting at the table with 5051 to combat these issues on a national level with new activists like yourselves to give y'all access to the resources that we didn't have when we first started. Y'all, the American dream is dying, and I don't say that with joy or arrogance. I say that with mourning for the future that we all longed for as Americans. The American dream is the notion that with hard work, success and prosperity is accessible to everyone. It's faith in that dream that brought countless families to immigrate to the United States, and it is because of that dream that we are all here today, descendants of those immigrants. That dream is turning into a nightmare. Today, Americans have the highest level of income inequality in the rich world. And in the past 20 years, Americans have experienced the greatest increase in that income inequality in the world. And that's not a mistake. That is by design. We are experiencing the death of the American dream in real time. And it's not only dying, it is being violently murdered in front of us. The ultra-wealthy are not merely accumulating wealth, they are stockpiling it in obscene amounts while watching the nation fall into economic collapse. They have created a system in which they amass absurd net worth on the backs of hardworking, impoverished Americans. And what they don't want to tell you is that the system only works if they maintain control over the workforce. We are being systemically isolated from the rest of the world. Our media is being censored. Our borders are being closed. Access to help and resources are being withdrawn. Air travel has been made unsafe. And make no mistake, the president knew that tariffs would cripple the economy. That is exactly why he passed them. By spiraling our nation into severe economic collapse, Trump is ensuring that low and medium income Americans will never be out from under the boot of the wealthy elite in this country. We are in a crisis in which economic instability, climate change, and authoritarian overreach are feeding into each other to create a system in which the average American cannot possibly thrive. If billionaires, not to name names, raking in millions per day wanted to actually solve these issues, they would. But they choose to instead hinder progress to ensure that they continue to stay at the top. This is why they are canceling research on climate change. This is why they are dismantling education systems. And this is why they are privatizing Social Security. What's worse is they don't want to be held accountable. And that's why they are placing blame on our most vulnerable Americans, immigrants and trans folks. The average American will never be affected by the existence of a trans athlete. Yet that is what they want our attention to be on. You know what we are affected by? Hunger. Rates of death by starvation in the United States has more than doubled since 2018. It is time to wake up, America. It is time to remind the grotesquely wealthy that we are more than just cheap labor. We are human beings. We are the backbone of this country. We, the people, are the future of the American dream, and we, the people, are taking it back. Again, I'm Zaide Smith, Deputy Director of Voices of Florida. Thank you so much for being here today. And I am very, very excited to introduce my Executive Director and friend, Sarah Parker.
I want you guys to do a little chant. There are organizers that have never organized in their life right now in the streets. When I say 50-50, I want you to say one. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. My name is Sarah Parker. I am the Executive Director of Voices of Florida and a 5051 national organizer. But most importantly, I'm a mother. Let Let me be clear, 5051 is not just a movement, it is a declaration of independence. We have no leaders, and we are beholden only to our values and to the people across this land who dare to dream, hope, and to believe in a better tomorrow, a better world, and a better America. 50 states, 50 capitals have now turned into one movement. The 5051 movement is the American people. It's you, the person standing next to you, your friend, your loved one, and the people you are fighting for. We will most importantly continue to fight for our Constitution, fight to end executive overreach, and we the people will veto Project 2025. What started as a single post on Reddit by a user has now grown into a full-blown movement. From the smallest whispers of dissent to the loudest roars of defiance, 5051 is powered by the hope, the work, and the dedication of every state, every city, and every voice. We are a movement and a force, fueled by the unshakable belief that we deserve more. And as we stand here today in the belly of the beast, I want to remind you, this administration isn't just attacking our rights. It's unraveling the very foundation of our freedom. They seek to rip apart our Constitution, bully other nations, destroy our livelihoods, and turn neighbors against neighbors. But most of all, they seek to unravel you. They want to steal your dreams, extinguish your hope, and erode your faith. Their goal was never simply to capture the White House or subvert our Constitution. It was to break us, to leave us hopeless, exhausted, and fractured. But I'm here to tell you, we will be damned if they succeed. Because we will not be broken. They will not destroy our faith because it was never theirs to destroy. We will not tolerate the eradication of our First Amendment rights. Our voices will not be silenced. We will peacefully dissent, as is our right, and we will not allow anyone to strip us of the freedoms that we hold dear. They will not strip away our hopes, for hope courses through the very veins of this nation. It is embedded in every pivotal moment of our history. Hope built this country. Hope transformed this country, and hope will carry us forward. They will not destroy our dreams because my ancestors lived and died for the dream of freedom in this nation. And I'll say this with my last breath, their sacrifices will never be in vain. Their dreams, our dreams, live on in each of us. And we stand here today across the country, shoulder to shoulder, in a critical mass to fight against every attempt to shatter what has been built. Understand this. This is not a sprint, and it never has been. It is a marathon. Long before any of us were born, long before the movement, before they thought that they could seize control, this battle was set in motion. It was set in motion by the brave people who have long fought and died for a better America. It is now our turn to carry that torch, and we will do that with honor. And we are armed with the lessons of their struggles, the victories they won, and the unwavering belief that America can always become better. The fight for freedom, equality, and justice has never been easy, but it has always been worth it. And in that spirit, we rise together with all of these amazing organizations as not just a movement, but a coalition under one simple truth. This is our civil rights moment. This is our call to action. It is our power. It is our voice. It is the essence of who we are and who we've always been, a people who will be damned if we are silenced. They will never break us. They will never steal our future. We are the movement, and with hope and faith, we are unstoppable. We must and we will save ourselves. Because reality check, no one is coming to save us. We the people will never stop fighting for the country we deserve. You are, I am, we are all 50-51. Before I go, I do this at a lot of different protests, and I did this when we lost Amendment 4 in Florida, which was an abortion rights ballot initiative. I want you to turn to the person next to you, and I want you to say, you are loved. You are resilient. And you are important. We have a long road ahead of us, so remember, joy is resistance, hope is resistance, self-care is resistance, we are the resistance. And I have one message to the administration. They say America first, I say ball's in your court, because America is right here and we're knocking at your door. Thank you.
Please welcome Executive Director Sarah Hagdusty, Win Without War.
Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Hagdusty and I am the Executive Director of Win Without War, a movement of 200,000 strong across the country, and I am here today to tell Elon Musk and Donald Trump to keep their hands off our families. Donald Trump tried to tear my family apart. When the Muslim ban first came down, I was pregnant with my first child and terrified that my mother would not be allowed in the country because she, like me, simply happened to be born in Iran. And I want to say thank you to every single person who showed up today, because it was because of protests just like this, as well as legal action from our movements, that my family was okay. That said, there are so many others who are not. Because Donald Trump wants us to believe that families like mine and families like yours should have to suffer, be separated, or even die because of his warped notions of national security. Donald Trump claimed that it was because of national security that Mahmoud Khalil was abducted in front of his wife, who was 8 months pregnant, and shipped off to Louisiana because of his free speech. Donald Trump claimed that it was because of national security that Romeza Öztürk, a PhD student, was abducted by masked agents and shipped off for daring to publish her opinions. Donald Trump claims that it was because of national security that immigrants are being arrested and shipped off to mega prisons in El Salvador run by an autocrat. And one of the people he shipped off was Kilmar Abreu Garcia, a dad who lived down the road in Maryland, who came here to flee gang violence. Donald Trump tells us it's a matter of national security that Bibi Netanyahu ripped up the ceasefire and is now back to slaughtering and wiping out whole families in Gaza. Now let me be very clear. Not a single person here is more safe when parents in Gaza have to dig with their bare hands through rubble, hoping that their kids are alive. Not a single person here is more safe because the families who lost loved ones and had loved ones taken hostage by Hamas during the horrific October 7th attacks are still waiting to have their loved ones come home. When Donald Trump cozies up to dictators like Putin, when he takes away critical HIV treatment from so many in need, when he lets food rot in warehouses instead of giving them to people, he makes every single one of us less safe. That's why I'm here today to say, hands off our families. Hands off our students. Hands off our neighbors. Hands off aid. And hands off Gaza. I want you all to remember that from South Korea to Brazil, we have seen time and time again the power of movements just like this one and their success in pushing back against right-wing coups and authoritarianism. And that is what we are here doing today, and that is what we will keep doing until we win. And I am so grateful to be here with you as we get it done. Thank you.
Please welcome Kyle Lewis, Vote Vets.
Oh my gosh. You guys look fantastic. I wish you could see this. Great work on the signs, too. You guys did a fantastic job. You showed out today. Hey, so it's great to be here with so many of you beautiful, smiling people. My bad. My name is Kyle Lewis, and I'm here with Vote Vets, the first and largest organization for progressive veterans in this country. I'm a veteran, a father, a Medicare beneficiary, and a stage 4 cancer thriver. So 5 years ago, I was diagnosed with an aggressive stage 4 cancer, and I was told I just had weeks to live. My doctors recommended I begin an innovative immunotherapy treatment. This treatment involved experimental drugs, which were part of a clinical trial funded by NIH through Johns Hopkins Hospital. Absolutely. Shout out NIH. You did hear me say were there. I use the past tense because that's no longer the case. The counterfeit king and his jackass jester have taken their chainsaw to NIH funding and jobs. They've hacked apart the Department of Veterans Affairs, disrupting vital health care to veterans like myself. And they've shamefully fired critical health workers. They've wantonly slashed money for clinical trials and other crucial medical and scientific work which leads to breakthroughs like the drugs that saved my life, drugs that in many cases are no longer available. My life and the lives of millions of Americans with cancer and other life-threatening diseases are now at even greater risk. The lives and well-being of veterans are at risk. All of this because the greed and inhumanity of a tiny number of obscenely rich billionaires. Absolutely. They want to fleece the people's government, our government, and seize more money for themselves. And make no mistake, these are our tax dollars. This is our money. These are our services. I was and remain extremely lucky to be here. That clinical trial and those drugs saved my life, and they're the only reason I'm standing up here speaking to you today. They're the only reason my young children got more time with their dad. If I received my original diagnosis today, I wouldn't be so lucky. If my cancer comes roaring back, and the available data suggests that it will, I won't be so lucky. All across our United States, we have family, friends, neighbors, and coworkers who have suffered through cancer and other deadly diseases. We know veterans who depend on VA health care. Our lives are now at greater risk because my life-saving treatment and others just like it have been destroyed by this administration. Funding for medical and scientific research is a core government function. It will not and cannot be replaced by private companies. We've seen what happens when we do that. We get the Sacklers and the opioid crisis. We get skyrocketing insulin prices. We get Martin Shkreli and unobtainable HIV treatment costs. I did not vote for the felonious Pharaoh, and no one voted for his wannabe Willy Wonka, both of whom are destroying our livelihood. To them we say, hands off medical research. Hands off science. Hands off Veterans Affairs. Hands off Medicare and Medicaid. And hands off our services. Thank you so much for being out here today. You guys look beautiful. I love all the signage. And remember, this is what resistance looks like. Like the man said, somebody got to do it.
Please welcome Representative Catherine Clark.
Oh, it is such a beautiful sight to see over 100,000 patriots. So I'm the whip in the House, and I count the votes and make sure that we stayed unified. And I want to tell you, you are putting on one hell of a whip operation here. You are not just saying hands off. You're not just standing up for your family and your community. You are the patriots standing up for our country. This is all about all of us versus the billionaire class and the politicians that they have purchased. This is about a Republican Party that has not betrayed just you, but the very people who voted for them. So we say to them, hands off our Social Security. Hands off our Medicaid. Hands off our public schools. Hands off our child care. Hands off our science and research. Hands off our veterans' benefits. Hands off our civil rights. Hands off our bodies. And hands off our vote. We do not want a government of, by, and for the billionaire class. And we want to make sure that you are heard on the other end of this mall at the Capitol. And right over there at the White House. And we're going to tell them, we see your cowardice. We see that you have chosen power over our country, over democracy, and we're here to tell you, we're not going to stand for it. What we're going to do is stand together against the lies they're telling us every single day, against the fascist lie that our bodies are not our own, that non-white means non-qualified, that billionaires are worthy of dignity more than working families. The lie that our children should go to school hungry and that our seniors should die in poverty. So these have been desperate times, and we can get full of despair. That's the strategy. But I'll tell you, look around. Our power lies in our number. So we're going to keep up the fight, and we are going to build a future that is worthy of our children. Thank you for being here.
Please welcome Co-President Rob Weissman, Executive Chair Norm Eisen, State Democracy Defenders, LU.
Hey, y'all. We are the litigators. Yeah! With our big coalition of hundreds of democracy and civil society groups, labor and federal employees, and ordinary folks like the over 100,000 of you, we have gone to court from San Francisco and Seattle to New York and New Hampshire. And we and our coalition have won. More than 50 court orders stopping Trump and Musk and their cronies. The judges have been Democratic appointees and Republican appointees and independents. And do you know what they have said? Hands off my Constitution. Let's join them and let's say it loud so they can hear us over in the White House. Are you ready? Hands off my Constitution. That was pretty good. I was going to ask you all to do it a second time, but I think they heard you. We have won those cases by working together as a coalition, all the thousands of us. I love you too. My organization, State Democracy Defenders Fund, went to court to stop Musk and Doge on the very first day, the very first case brought, with Rob and his colleagues at Public Citizen and Labor. And then later, we were ready. Later that same day, we went to court with Anu and the ACLU and her colleagues and brought the very first case on January 20th, saying, Donald Trump, you can't choose which babies born in this country are citizens and which not. The Constitution made that choice, Trump. And since then, we won that and dozens more the coalition did. And you know what? Trump and Musk can't stand all that losing. That's why, yes, they hate it. That's why they're lashing out at all the lawyers and the law firms. Shoot, they're lashing out at me. Donald Trump has removed my security clearance 3 times. 3 times. I don't know if it's a mental capacity thing and he just forgets that he did it, or if he takes it away and then when he loses again, he says, turn it back on so I can feel better about all the losing. Hanu, what do you think?
How are we feeling? My name is Anu Joshi and I am with the American Civil Liberties Union. In the just over 2 months since Inauguration Day, the ACLU has filed over 30 lawsuits against the Trump administration for their extreme, cruel, and illegal actions. And we are winning, and we are not slowing down. But the truth is, while fighting and winning in court is important, we all know it's not nearly enough. We need the power of the people. And together, we must demand that our members of Congress and our governors and our mayors and big law and university presidents and CEOs get in these damn streets with us. They need to show us that they will not capitulate to the Trump administration's threats. The Trump administration's attacks on our right to dissent are the biggest threat to the First Amendment since the Red Scare. The unconscionable and unconstitutional arrests of international students and scholars should alarm every one of us. ICE has illegally snatched people from their homes and neighborhoods, threatened their legal status, and sent them across the country with no notice to their loved ones or their lawyers. All of this in direct retaliation for constitutionally protected speech. The government cannot punish us because they don't like what we say. That's not my opinion. That is central to the Constitution. One of those students that was rounded up is our client, Rumyesa Ozturk, a Tufts University student who is illegally accosted and arrested outside of her home by plainclothes federal agents and then sent over 1,000 miles away to a for-profit private prison in Louisiana. And all of this terror inflicted because she co-wrote an op-ed for her student newspaper. That's why the ACLU of Massachusetts, CLEAR, and Masa Kambabi are standing with Rumyesa in court in defense of her First Amendment rights. The government cannot punish us because they don't like what we say. I want to end with a statement from Rumyesa that she shared with her legal team earlier this week. I am a PhD student working with children and youth. We know that injustice in the world and systemic brutality towards people of color has long-lasting negative effects on children, youth, and other communities. Writing is one of the most peaceful ways of addressing systemic inequality. Efforts to target me because of my op-ed in the Tufts Daily calling for the equal dignity and humanity of all people will not deter me from my commitment to advocate for the rights of youth and children. And we cannot let it deter us from fighting for the future of this country.
Hello, my friends. I'm Rob Weissman with Public Citizen. As you have heard today, and as you know, we are living under the most lawless, Constitution-trampling administration in American history. And so there's nothing more immediately urgent than for us to go to court and beat Trump again and again and again over his illegal and unconstitutional actions. And we have to do it because it's not just about a Schoolhouse Rock moment. It's because people's lives are at stake. It is his illegal actions that are causing a humanitarian disaster around the world. So people are going to die from malaria and TB and preventable disease for no reason. It is his illegal action that is paving the way for financial fraudsters, for credit card scams and big banks to rip us off. It is his illegal and unconstitutional actions that are rolling back the rules that give us clean air. It is his illegal and unconstitutional action which is racing us towards climate catastrophe. It is his illegal and unconstitutional actions which are rolling back core racial justice programs. It is his illegal and unconstitutional actions which are stripping away our free speech rights. It is his illegal and unconstitutional actions which threaten this nation's labor movement and the right of workers and the federal government and elsewhere to organize collectively. So we have to go to court and we have to keep beating him, and we're going to do that. But let me tell you this. Let me tell you this. We are not going to win all the time. We are going to lose cases that we should win. We're going to lose cases that we should win. And if we won every single case we brought, it wouldn't be enough. It wouldn't be enough to roll back this authoritarian steamroller we're facing. There's only one thing. There's only one thing that's enough to face down this authoritarian moment. And that is this movement here today. That is us here, more than 100,000 of us here right now, more than 1 million of us across the country, more people watching online, people who can't join because they're scared, joining together. So it's together we say when they come after our Social Security, as a movement we say, hands off. When they come after our Medicare, as a movement we say, hands off. When they come after our free speech rights, as a movement we say, hands off. When they come after our labor unions, as a movement we say, hands off. When they come after our democracy, as a movement we say, hands off. That's how we're going to win. Hands off. Hands off to Musk. Hands off to Trump. Hands off to authoritarianism. But hands open to each other, my friends. Hands open in embrace of each other. And hands together in solidarity. Hands together in love. Hands together in community. Hands together in empathy. That's how we beat autocracy. That's how we beat oligarchy. That's how we beat Trump. That's how we send Musk back where he belongs. That's how we rescue our democracy. Together, hands together, hands together, hands together, hands together, hands together. Thank you.
Please welcome Interim Executive Director Portia Allen Kyle, Color of Change.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Portia Allen Kyle, and I have the honor of leading Color of Change. We're a civil rights and racial justice organization fueled by millions of members across the country, just like y'all, who have showed out today to hold corporations, to hold our government accountable to take action on solutions for us. I wish we were gathered here under different circumstances, but 100,000 plus people here and millions of folks across the country coming together to stand up for our future is a beautiful thing. Because there is a lot to celebrate about a future that we are fighting for. We're here to tell those in power to take their hands off our futures, their hands off our economic vitality, to take their hands off our democracy. And we've seen what they're willing to do in this fight. They're willing to rob our families of stability and opportunity, all to protect the interests of the wealthy and the well-connected.
They're willing to steal the dignity of our elders by plundering Social Security, treating a lifetime of hard work as expendable and disposable. They're willing to gut the jobs of government workers who keep our communities running and keep our communities safe, just to consolidate power and profit. And this is just the latest chapter in a story and a long history designed to strip Black communities, Indigenous communities, Latino communities, queer communities, and our disabled brothers and sisters from our power, our purpose, and our possibility. But they can't. And we won't let them. The goal of this administration's agenda is predicated on anti-Blackness and a neo-segregationist agenda and approach that is seeking to erase us and erase our history. And while they seek to break us to embolden themselves, I'm reminded of the words of Alice Walker, prolific writer, Black womanist thought leader, who said there are those who believe that Black people possess the secret of joy, and that it is this that will sustain them through any spiritual or moral or physical devastation. And as a Black woman who has experienced the cruelties and injustices of this world, but who will not let it break me, I know her words are correct. She says resistance is the secret of joy. And that's something I want everyone here to remember today, because there's something that is viscerally satisfying when we say absolutely the fuck not. We must remember to find joy even in the darkest of times, because our joy is resilience. Our joy is defiance. Our joy is the sustenance that keeps us fighting for freedom and justice. And that joy and that motivation will take us a lot further than the hate that fuels them. Because this isn't the first time that segregationists, bigots, and the privileged wealthy elite have tried to steal our joy. And so shout out to all of us that work for a living. Shout out to all of us that know adversity, that have experienced it throughout history, and yet have found joy in community, found joy in togetherness, found joy in the collective imagination and fighting for a just and equitable world that we just haven't experienced yet. And as always, it will be Black communities, communities of color, queer people, disabled folk, and our allies who are on the front lines fighting for our freedoms. And so we tell people in power, hands off. Let the words, let the community, let the joy to be found today sustain you, nourish you in the coming days, months, and years fighting this terror. But it can't storm forever. Remember that joy is the lifeblood of resistance and defiance in the face of evil. That dancing, creating, and I see the signs, I know y'all are creative. That marching, that protesting, that standing up against this neo-segregationist tyranny and authoritarianism, that we will continue to say hands off, that we will continue to find joy in the resistance, and we will resist with joy. Thank you.
Please welcome Gabriel Eaton, Planned Parenthood.
Hello, beautiful people. My name is Gabe, and I'm from La Crosse, Wisconsin. That's the Wisconsin where the richest person in the world spent millions of dollars trying to buy a state Supreme Court seat, and he failed. Can I hear it for all the Wisconsinites defending democracy? Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am Black. I am Filipino-Japanese, second generation. I'm a disabled trans man. But I'm also a Medicaid patient. I'm also a person who uses food stamps. I'm also a person who has been through houselessness in this country. I am also a person who has gone through substance use and addiction. And most of all, I am a patient of Planned Parenthood. I am everything that Donald Trump and Elon Musk want to erase. I am everything they want to silence. With every executive order, with every safety net they slash, every hateful word they say, they want me to go away. So in case they're listening down the street, which I doubt they are, hello, I am here. I exist. We as people all exist. Thank you, loves. But they do keep trying. Every day there's something new to be pissed / terrified / heartbroken about. Last week, Donald Trump and Elon Musk came after an organization near and dear to my heart, Planned Parenthood. Show of hands, how many of you have been to a Planned Parenthood for care? Or has had a neighbor or a loved one go? I love you all, thank you. I'm not at all surprised nor shocked because 1 in 4 people have been to Planned Parenthood. It's for our communities and for our neighbors. I've been a Planned Parenthood patient many times over for an IUD and birth control, for life-saving HIV protection through PrEP, for testosterone, for an overabundance of condoms and safer sex materials, for letters of support for my top surgery. Planned Parenthood has our backs. And I've always had Planned Parenthood's back, but I'm now here to support and show my love for this organization. And I'm also here to tell you what you need to do. You need to call your members of Congress. You need to call your local politicians. Tell them to protect Planned Parenthood patients by any means necessary. This isn't an ask, this is a tell. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell anybody who will listen to you. Tell them to keep their hands off of our health care. Hands off our health care. Hands off our health care. Hands off our bodies. Hands off our bodies. Hands off our bodies. Tell the billionaires down the streets that want to tell us what we can do with our bodies and our lives. Tell them to fuck off. Tell them we deserve better. And that's why I'm here today, to remind them that they cannot take away our rights. They cannot take away who I am, because I won't let them. We won't let them. We won't let them. Because one more thing about me is I've been coming out to protests and demonstrations from when I was 8. Little kid for Prop 8 in California when my rights were forged. I've used my voice to fight for my neighbors in my community. This is who I am. This is who we are. And I know there's always something that you and I can do to fight back. We can volunteer. We can knock doors for the election like I did. We can call our members of Congress and our local politicians to tell them to take their hands off of our health care. You can share your story with anybody who will listen. Please. Tell anyone who will listen, anyone who cares, anyone who will give you the time of day why this matters to you. There are hundreds upon thousands of us, and we are not going away. We will not be erased. I love you all. Thank you so much.
Please welcome to the stage Executive Director Kaya Chatterjee, Free DC.
You all look so beautiful out there. Give yourselves a round of applause. My name is Kaya Chatterjee. I'm the Executive Director of Free DC, and I'm here because I know that everyone here agrees that DC deserves better than what we're getting right now. DC deserves to manage and run and have our own budget. DC deserves to have our own laws. DC deserves to have elected officials that represent us, the people of DC, and our interests, people who we elected to represent our interests. And DC deserves to maintain our status as a sanctuary city. There's nobody who should be able to take that away from us because that is what we voted for here in DC. Now, this administration is attempting a power grab in so many ways, but is also attempting a power grab over the people of DC and DC communities. And it is up to us, it is up to all of us to stop them. Whether or not you live in DC, it is up to us. We have to stop them because when we talk about DC, we are talking about more than just any old city. We are talking about the capital city of this country. And for a leader like this one that lives in that house behind you all, they are consolidating power so fast. They are trying to control the capital city. That is how they want to stifle us. It's how they want to stifle protest like this. It's how they want to stifle dissent. And that's really dangerous to let them come after DC, the capital. This president is following an authoritarian playbook. He's doing the things that authoritarians have done throughout history to concentrate power and to break down democracy. We've seen him, right? Dismantling federal agencies. Anyone seen that? Retaliating against critics. Allowing some people who he likes to operate above the law. This is what authoritarians do, and we cannot let him take over our capital. It is up to all of us to stop them. And here in DC, we are uniquely powerful. It has always, in every country where we've seen people rise up against authoritarianism, it has always been people in the capital city who rise up. And Free DC is here to build the movement that it will take to make it clear that we, all of us, inside, outside DC, we will not comply. I know that we can do this because unlike the president, I know the people of DC. And some of you heard this morning the go-go beats that we danced to. We saw some of our students up here this morning, our beautiful students who are brilliant, and we know that our neighbors are connected to each other and in communities that love each other. Those are the things that make it impossible for a leader to oppress people. Those communities, those relationships, that beauty, that creativity. So we heard just a few minutes ago a lot about the importance of joy. I want to ask you all to say it with me, to be a part of this movement for joy, because we are going to need to push back. Here in DC, about 3 weeks ago, we did something pretty unprecedented. We flooded 100 Senate offices at once, and so we didn't get them to save democracy because they didn't have the spine for that, but we did get them to actually pass a standalone bill that let us use our own local dollars in DC. They tried to take that away from us. But now that bill is in front of the House of Representatives, and you're about to hear from some people who support us in allowing us to use our own dollars. But unfortunately, we're going to have to push for this. So I want to invite everyone here to join us on Monday morning. We're going to be up at the Capitol at Spirit of Justice Park. You can go to our website, freedcproject.org, and figure out how to join us. Join us in forcing this government to let us have our own local dollars. This is part of protecting DC. This is part of protecting the Capitol, and this is part of protecting democracy. And protecting our own sanity in our community is part of that too. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of our priorities and our ethos at Free DC, and I want you to repeat after me. I will prioritize joy. I can see you doing it right now. I can see the smiles. I will take up space. I see you doing it right now, 100,000 of you taking up ours in. And I will organize my community. Thank you so much. That's what it's going to take to have a free DC. I'm going to say free, you say DC. Free? DC. Free? DC. Free? DC. Free? DC. I'm going to say DC, you say statehood. DC? Statehood. DC? Statehood. DC? Statehood. Thank you very much.
Please welcome to the stage Representatives Beyer, Omar, Green, Simon, Swalwell.
My name is Don Beyer, and I am ashamed of what Donald Trump is doing to our country. Donald Trump says he wants to make America great again, but he's making America the 1930s again. Herbert Hoover gave us the crash of 1929. Donald Trump gave us the stock market crash of 2025. Herbert Hoover gave us Smoot-Hawley in the Great Depression. Donald Trump has given us the largest tariffs ever in American history, a plunge in consumer confidence, and he's destroying our economy. The Great Depression, 1930s, gave us 25% unemployment. Elon Musk has already fired hundreds of thousands of people, government, federal employees, contractors. Lee Zeldin's gutting the EPA. They had no EPA in the 1930s. They had the Dust Bowl. Donald Trump is cutting the CDC. They had no CDC. Instead, millions of people died from polio, from measles, from tuberculosis. Donald Trump's gutting the NIH. In the 1930s, cancer was a death sentence. And then there's the Department of Education. They fired half the people. All of their civil rights organization. They had no Department of Education civil rights, and all of our schools were separate but equal. And then there's diversity. In the 1930s, if you were a Jewish American or a black American, you were denied neighborhoods, jobs, society, education. Women could be secretaries, teachers, and nurses if they were unmarried. And if you were gay or a lesbian or trans, you led a life of complete secrecy and repression. We are not going back. We will be fearless, relentless, angry, smart, and we will be tireless. My favorite wisdom is all life asks of us is that we live it with courage. So let me give you one of the most courageous members of Congress, my friend Ilhan Omar from Minnesota.
Thank you so much, Representative Beyer, for that introduction. Hello, everyone. It is so good to be here with over 100,000 American patriots. It is a reminder that the American fighting spirit is alive. Because, folks, we are in a fight. We are in a fight for our democracy. We are in a fight for our Constitution. We are in a fight for our families. We are in a fight for the kind of future we want in this country. We are currently living through a president who wants to be a dictator. In America, we do not accept dictators and we do not accept kings. We have a $1 billion
billionaire who has bought a seat next to the president, using him as a puppet. American democracy has never been for sale, and it won't be today. We are seeing a cowardice, congressional Republicans that are utilizing the chaos our fascist president is creating to cut Medicaid, Social Security, and take away our rights. While they give $4.5 trillion in tax cuts to their billionaire puppeteers. None of this is normal. This is why we have to fight for our Constitution. It is because here is the thing. No matter who you are, Elon Musk and Donald Trump and corrupt congressional Republicans are coming for you. If you are a mother struggling to put food on the table, they are coming for you. If you have elderly parents that you are trying to put in a nursing home, they are coming for you. If you are a senior relying on Social Security, they are coming for you. If you have disabled children and you're trying to make sure they have access to education, by cutting the education department, they're coming for you. So they want you to believe. They want you to believe, to look at your neighbor as the enemy. They want you to believe that it is because of trans kids that you can't have the necessary access to the programs we already paid for. They want you to think it is okay to snatch people in the middle of the night and disappear them. They want to take away our pride as Americans in the Constitution and due process by putting people in foreign prisons in a dark hole. They want to crash the economy so that they can set up a process of punishment and reward, so they can grab more power for who will bend the knee and give them access. None of this is normal. So if you want a country that has the marvelous Constitution we have to fight for it. If you want a country that still believes in due process, we have to fight for it. If you believe in a country where we take care of our neighbors, look after the poor, and make sure our children have a future they can believe in, we have to fight for it. So are you ready to fight? Are you ready to fight? Let's go fight and win. And with that, it is my honor to introduce Representative Simon of California.
Hey, good people. So I've been in the United States Congress for about 3 months. I was sworn in on January 3rd with my colleagues to do one thing, is to fight like hell against tyranny. You elected members of Congress to stand with a backbone 10 toes down, to fight and to win for the little girl right now who is in cancer treatment, who her parents are praying every minute for a cure, to be met by an administration who refuses to fund cancer research. You elected members to fight like hell and to deny their vote to a slimy administration who has proved time and time again that their cruelness is beyond no end. You elected us to adhere not only to the Constitution, but the promise of the framers, the Hebrew text and the New Testament, the Quran and the words of the Baha'i, and every single religion that surrounds this great nation. Isaiah 10, verse 1 and 2 is clear. The Hebrew Bible is clear. Woe who injects false and cruel laws that makes the fatherless poor. Woe who is those who inject false narratives that ensures that the widows have nothing. I tell you one thing here, as a new member of Congress and as an organizer 30 years deep in our neighborhoods, and yes, I'm from Oakland, that when evil is confronting us, guess what we do, America? We pull up. We pull up. So, for that family who has an elderly, beautiful relative who is struggling with ALS, for that family who is struggling with a disabled child, I want you to know, despite this administration's promise to end rights for people with disability, regardless of this administration's aim to stomp on the backs of our elderly, regardless of this administration's promise to end inclusivity and to throw out our children, not only, brothers and sisters and siblings, will we fight, we will use the strategic force of this body and the 2 million strong that are out in the streets today to win. At every city hall, at every governor's office, and yes, right here in the White House, our lives depend on it. Not only are not we going back, we are going north. We will win because evil will never prevail. Let's keep fighting. And with that, I want to introduce my brother, Congresswoman, by the way, thank you so much, Congresswoman, Congressman Eric Swalwell.
This is what kicking the shit out of fascism looks like. This is what it looks like. We've seen a lot of people cave to fascism in America. We're not. We've seen the CEOs cave. Will you cave? We've seen the law firms cave. Will you cave? We've seen the colleges cave. Will you cave? We can't cave. My name's Eric Swalwell. I'm the son of a cop, a mom who was a baker, and I went to college as the first in the family on a soccer scholarship. And before every big game, before every season, the coach would tell us, I want you to close your eyes and think about what does that last moment of the game look like? And I want you to think as we begin this season of democracy, what does the last moment of this march look like? We win! That's what it looks like. It's justice. It's redemption. It's accountability. And it's renewal. Because as you stand here right now, we have gone from a Trump slump to a Trump train wreck. We are going into a red recession. Our 401ks are 201ks. Our costs at Walmart and Home Depot and Target, where 4 out of 5 of the things we buy are from overseas, are going up. And where is Donald Trump? He's golfing. So to Donald Trump, I say, get your ass off the golf course and face the people. America first. It's Trump first. This guy is a con. Trump Bibles, made in China. Trump sneakers, made in China. The Trump shitcoin, made on a computer, made in China. And he's not just disappearing people, he's disappearing rights. And to that we say, disappear, we're still here. Our veterans, we're still here. We're still here. We're still here. That's right. He wants to disappear our veterans and women and hardworking immigrants and our seniors and our kids and the sick. We're still here. So you are asking us, what is the plan? And I'll tell you this, we are not going to give a single vote to fascism inside the Congress because we know you're fighting outside the Congress. And so small victories will bring us big victories. We had a victory last Tuesday in Wisconsin. Thank you. We need a victory later this year in New Jersey and Virginia in the governor's race. And then we're going to march all the way to the midterms, and we're going to win on November 4, and we're going to cut our time in hell in half. So what my colleagues and I want to ask you, because just about a mile from here on January 6, 2021, we saw the bravest police officers. They showed up and they defended our democracy. And you don't have to put on body armor. You don't have to take a stun gun to your neck or a Confederate flag to your head. You don't have to suffer a heart attack or a stroke or traumatic brain injury, as we saw from Officer Mike Fanone or Harry Dunn or Danny Hodges or Sergeant Cannell and so many others. But if you show up with the same integrity and the same passion and the same vigor and love for our country that they showed, we will win. So April 5, this day, April 5, will be the day that America came alive. And when I am asked on November 4, 2026, when we win the midterms, how did you know? How were you so confident that we were going to win? I'm going to tell them, because on April 5, I stood in front of a monument to freedom with people from all over the country, with people who work so hard and dream so big, and they said, we're not going to be fucked with. Thank you. And now, it's my honor to have us close out the congressional speakers to introduce to you someone who has been censured but is not silenced, Congressman Al Green.
Thank you. 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 You touched my heart. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I am proud to be here today with my colleagues, all of whom are liberated Democrats. Let's hear it for these liberated Democrats. All of whom are unbought, unbossed, and unafraid. unafraid to stand up for the many seniors that are among us. We have seniors that are among us. Unafraid to say to Donald John Trump, hands off Medicaid and Medicare. It belongs to our seniors. Social Security is not a Ponzi scheme. It is a part of the American dream. It belongs to our seniors. And we have to tell President Trump that Canada is not going to become the 51st state. Russia invaded Ukraine. Greenland is not for sale. And he also needs to know, dear friends, that Gaza is not going to become a resort. Gaza is not going to become a resort. There must be a home for the Palestinian people. Yeah, there must be. There must be. And I'm here to speak from my heart. This message is from my heart. It's not from my head. This is my heart. I want you to know something. I carry this cane because there are people who don't like me. They don't like my cane. But I carry this cane because after having celebrated my 25th birthday 3 times, 2 years into my 4th 25th, I carry this cane. And I carry this cane because I believe in the 23rd Psalm. That portion that reads, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, because my rod and my staff comforts me." This is my comforter. This is my comforter. And I want you to know that I'm going to take this staff of truth and I'm going to take this rod, and I want President Trump to know that he's not going to have a 3rd term. There will be no 3rd term. 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 But more important than this, dear brothers and sisters, and I say brothers and sisters because there really is but one race, and that's the human race. Yeah, we're all related. We're all related. And L.S.B. Leakey, a noted anthropologist and paleontologist, reminds us that all of human life can be traced back to a single African woman. So if we're not brothers and sisters, we're at least cousins. So dear cousins, hear this message for Donald Trump, for President Trump. This is more important. I want President Trump to know that I will use my staff of freedom to bring forth, proudly bring forth, a message that should say to him, he may not finish this term. He may not finish this term. He may not finish this term. He may not finish. He may not finish this term. Here's why. Here's why. Here's why. Here's why. Here's why. Here's why. Because you are now sowing the seeds that can lead to a Congress being elected that will have the courage to not only have articles of impeachment filed, but to impeach him a 3rd time. Impeach him a 3rd time. A 3rd time. And a Senate. We need a Senate that will convict him this time. And I want you to know from my heart, I understand that he is a Goliath. He is a Goliath. He has control of the generals and the military. He has control of the Justice Department. He has control of the Republican Party. But my friends, for every Goliath, there is a David. There's a David. These are your Davids. There's a David. And I want you to know, Mr. President, this David is going to bring articles of impeachment against you within the next 30 days. Within the next 30 days. I'm bringing articles of impeachment. I'm coming for you, Mr. President. This David is coming for you. You don't deserve the office you hold. You can't be entrusted with liberty and justice for all. You can't be entrusted with government of the people, by the people, for the people. I'm coming for you. I'm your David. God bless you.
Please welcome to the stage co-executive directors Leah Greenberg and Ezra Levin, Indivisible.
All right. Hi, everyone. It's good to be here with you today. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Thank you. I'm Leah Greenberg. I'm the co-executive director of Indivisible.
I'm Ezra. I'm married to Leah. I'm also co-executive director.
We represent a movement of thousands of local indivisible groups around the country. People who decided that politics and our democracy are too important to be left up to the politicians who raised their hand and said, I gotta do something. And if that sounds like you, I bet there's a group near you that could use a few new organizers. Now, I want to be so clear about why we are here today. Over the last 3 months, Donald Trump has handed the federal government, the awesome powers of the federal government, over to the richest man in the world. And the richest man in the world has decided that you don't deserve clean drinking water. The richest man in the world has decided that your kids don't deserve good schools and special education. The richest man in the world has decided that our veterans don't deserve services and your grandma does not deserve fuel to heat her home. The richest man in the world's coming for our Medicare and our Social Security. The richest man in the world is firing the people who protect our workers' rights, who protect our civil rights, who protect our public lands and national parks, who research the cancer and the Alzheimer's and the diabetes cures that we and our loved ones depend on. And they're doing it all. They are doing this all so that they can fund their next round of giveaways to their fellow billionaire buddies. So that Donald Trump and Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk can have another yacht and another fat tax cut. And they know that this is not popular. They know that the vast majority of Americans do not want this. That is why they are attacking our democracy to cement their own power. They are attacking our freedom to vote. They are taking kids off the streets, students off the streets for their social media posts. They're imprisoning innocent fathers in a foreign prison. They're doing all of this. They are willing to rip our democracy to shreds so they can sell the pieces off.
Hey, Leah got a lot of booze there. Can I get some cheers for her? Okay, so look, what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? You know, there are some Democratic leaders out there who say the smart strategy is to roll over and play dead. Should we roll over and play dead? Look around, y'all. The institutions that should be upholding our democracy, they are rolling over and playing dead. I got a list. I'm going to name some names. Collaborators like law firms with Paul Weiss. Capitulators in legacy media institutions like the Washington Post and the LA Times. Craving universities like Columbia. Kleptocratic businesses like Amazon and Facebook. Look, when institutions that are supposed to uphold our democratic norms fail and fall, it's up to the people to step up. Are we going to step up? Are we stepping up? Hey, are we stepping up? You bet your ass we are. You know why? You know why? Because as much as Musk, as much as Trump, as much as congressional Republicans want us to think that they are in control, that they're all powerful, are they all powerful? Here, let me ask you something. I believe that America is a constitutional republic. Is that right? What are the ideal number of kings in a constitutional republic? How many kings? How many kings? That sounds pretty good to me. 0 sounds like the right number to me. Now, everyone here, there are over 100,000 folks in DC right now. DC, which is taxed without representation, 100,000 here. But it's not just in DC. Today, right now, we are all part of the single largest pro-democracy protest in years. Every single state, just about every single community, 1,300 worldwide, y'all, worldwide. Now, look, this is incredible. This display of people power is absolutely incredible. It is not the end point in the fight against the fascist attack on our democracy. It's not the end point. It could be an inflection point. It could be an inflection point if we make it an inflection point. Look, we are not victims of world events, y'all. The fascists, they want us to fear them. Do we fear them? They know that fear is contagious. You know what else is contagious? Courage. Each one of us gets to choose what we put out into the world. What do we choose? What do we choose? What do we choose? Okay, so what do we do with that courage? The next congressional recess, it's just a few days away, begins April 11th. Here's your task. I'm going to give you 3 tasks. If you ever worked with Indivisible, we love a good rally, but we like a plan too. We want to actually put a plan into action. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Step 1, there are 100,000 people here. I bet you don't know every one of them. I bet there are some new friends you could introduce yourself to right now. Look at these cool signs. Compliment your new friend on their sign. Exchange contact information. Do that before you go to leave this rally. You gonna do that? Okay, 2, on your way home, here's what I'm gonna ask you to do. Think of the 5 friends, people in your community who aren't here but could be here. Are you gonna do it? And 3, when you get home, it's up to you. Nobody is coming to save us. We have to save ourselves. We have to save ourselves. We have to go join your local Indivisible group or your local 5051 or your local Working Families Party group or start your own, but it's up to you. It's up to you. Are we going to accept from our supposed leaders when they tell us to roll over and play dead? Remind me, how many kings? How many kings? How many kings? Damn straight. Okay, now let's go back home and organize the protest. This one's over.
Thank you for joining Hands Off, the People's Veto Rally in Washington, D.C.